Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine, and guess what? It's time for the Full of Wonder sketch with me. It feels like it's been a long summer, which it kind of has, and we had our big move to Pennsylvania, and now I'm getting settled back into some filming. So let me get this switched over so you can see the sketch on page 75 from our scrapbook. Oh my gosh, scrapbooking ideas and sketch challenge book that I picked to work from for this showcase of our Full of Wonder collection. Let's see here. Here is page 75. And you can see I don't have a whole lot written on this one as far as mats. It just really felt like this collection spoke to me for the sketch, and I kind of stayed somewhat close to what they did. So we'll talk about photos for the page. This one, it definitely was harder to adapt for the larger photos. And I guess, every so often I do have some photos I trim down a little bit more. So we'll figure it out as we go, right? I am using the woven paper, the dark blue that has the blue watercolor on the back for both sides of this page. Bring in my border mat, my silicone mat, because we are definitely going to need it for this one. We have a lot of small triangles we're going to be adding to these squares. So I have cut 8 5x5 inch squares from scraps that I had left over from the virtual crop, I guess, because I hadn't actually used this collection for the sketch with me yet. So these are going to go pretty much around these 4 corners. I have a feeling I'm going to need my zero centering ruler as well for this one, because it looks like we will need about a 1/2 inch. I'm guessing. I should have mapped this out before I did it. No, that's too much space there. So maybe about 3/4 there. So let's bring that in a little bit just to get a good place marker here. So 3/4 is right there. And coming in, maybe I should put this one down here for now, just to give myself a second ruler to work from. Because, let's see, here's 3/4 is right about here. So let me get this first one stuck down, and then I think 3/4 looks pretty good, because we should have about 3/4 in between as well. And then 3/4 will start again over here. Yep. Okay, so that's going to give us a 3/4 of an inch border pretty much around the entire page. Let me get this set here. Why? Okay, something's off. Let me fix that first. Let's move this up. Make sure I'm on the camera. Am I straight? I feel like I'm reasonably straight. Let's move you up. Are you straight? Mostly. Move you up. Okay. So 3/4 of an inch will be about right there, and then 3/4 in. Oh boy. Okay, nobody ever said it was going to be easy. It's okay. There's 3/4 up. Here is 3/4 in right from here. And I'm not going to push it down yet because I want to get all 4 of these placed before I'm satisfied with where I'm at here. So I can use this line as my marker for that. I guess I do need to be 3/4 down from the top, which is going to be right about here. So going in 3/4 right about there. It's nice that this page does have some lines on it to help me get these straight. That is not straight. There we go. That looks straight. Okay, and then I have these other two. Okay. A little bit here I thought this was going to be an easier page, and it's a little bit tricky because with the measuring, you really do need to pay attention, which is, I definitely like to wing it a lot. So all of this focus for first thing in the morning is, well, it's not bad. I'm trying to get myself back into the swing of things. And then they've been bulldozing out in front of our house a bit, which has been a bit of a challenge for my filming. Go figure. Didn't think everybody would like to try to hear me around all the bulldozers. Speaking of which, it sounds like they're coming back in, so hopefully my mic is not picking it up. Okay, come on. Stay steady, paper. There you go. Follow this line. Follow that line. That's somewhat straight. And then this does look like it's about 3/4 in between. Yep. Okay. Whew. All right. So there is our first placement. And the bulldozers are coming back, so I'm going to go ahead and pause myself for a little bit, and I'll come back and work on this again in a little bit. Okay, where were we? We were getting our 4 5x5 squares onto our page, roughly at a 3/4 of an inch margin all the way around, so it looks like it's framed out nicely. I don't think our sketch really talks about that. I mean, it looks like it does have a nice frame, and actually I think they did use the 5x5 squares as this base, and then they used a 1 1/4 inch square that they cut diagonally, but well, my goodness, I am going to use 1 3/4 inch squares cut in half, and I will tell you why. I'm using 1 3/4 inch squares because we have this fantastic square punch now, and it punches at 1 3/4 inch square. Because if you're trying to cut all those little squares on your trimmer, they don't wind up exactly the same because we're human and it's hard to do everything the same. So I decided to go ahead and use my square punch. I punched 16 squares, and then I did use I don't know if y'all are familiar with our trimmer, but I used our cut guides that you pull down from the top, and it shows you exactly where your blade will cut. So I lined up my squares diagonally in this track where my blade goes. You have one in the bottom and one in the top. And those are incredibly helpful for doing things like cutting squares in half. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out, I didn't actually figure out which one is going to go where. A lot of times I usually pre-do a lot of this, but let's go ahead and just get a general feel for it now. As you can see, I even stacked some of these. So maybe we'll do dark blue on this green one down here. We have some of the lighter color. So I just used the same papers that I used to create my 5-inch squares here. And I think it should give us enough so you can see where we're going to have some overlap. I can see where I like this look here where they kind of meet right in the middle of our 3/4 inch mark. So I have a lot of lighter ones. Okay, I need to say 4 for sure for the other side because we are going to be doing this again, aren't we? So here's 4 lighter ones. Let me get 4 darker blue ones here. One has a lot of green in it. We'll see. 1, 2, 3. That's more blue. That's more blue. That's more blue. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you can see where maybe pre-sorting some of this might not be a terrible thing. I think we're going to bring this green back up over here. The blue. Just bringing things back together. This one has the blue and the green. Let's see what else we have here that looks like we have a couple of each that might give us some for both this page and the other page. Okay. So I've got these 2. I've got 2 of these. So we'll do 1 of each of these for our other page. Okay. There's that. So we'll use these 2 over here maybe. That one's going to go up there, and then I'm glad I have a couple of lighter ones still. This one has a little more purple to it, so that can go 1 there, 1 here. Okay, we'll do that. And then this one has a really light tone to it, so let's do that. That's not where it's going to wind up, but I have an uneven number somehow. That's interesting. I wonder if I missed one when I was moving them over, or... Oh, no, that's right. Okay, I just had already had one on here. Okay, that needs to go here because I've got one with this little bit of greeny blue, and I've got one with this other blue. Okay. All right, so that was interesting. We will... Let's see here. So do I want to eyeball it or do I want to actually measure? I guess it's probably going to be better to measure. This was 3/4 of an inch in. So there's a half. There's my 3/4. So that's right about here. And this is 1/4 of an inch here. So in between, no, let's just use our 0 centering ruler. Why not? Figure out where our center is going to be. Okay, move this out of the way so I can actually see what I'm doing here. And so I will line up my 0 at the, there we go. That probably would help if my ruler wasn't upside down here. So I have 2.5 and 2.5. So at the 2.5 mark up and down, here's my 0. So my point is going to come out from here, and I think it's actually going to touch the edge. So where was I? Does that look like that's about straight? Okay, who knew this layout was going to be quite so tricky? Yep, that's right, about the 0. There. Okay. I mean, maybe some of you knew it was going to wind up being tricky for me, but I didn't. So I can see where I'm going to definitely be speeding this up and adding a little music for you all. I am going to center each one of these just so I can get a feel for, the linear going across and down my page. I think it's just going to look nicer if it's lined up. And then these are going to go where they overlap in here, but then when I go to put my photo, it'll probably overlap some of our half squares here. So let me, I just moved my ruler, didn't I? Okay, repositionable tape. I'm going to get this first one on, and then I'm going to just get to work here. Get this lined back up. Pull that out here. Drop it, don't move it. And this is now going right there at that point. Our line is going to match this line, and here we go. Whew, okay. Every once in a while I do say you break a little bit of a sweat doing some scrapbooking. And this is one of those instances. So I'll be back with y'all shortly. One of the things, I'm not sure if you're familiar with our zero centering ruler, is we have grid lines run both horizontal and vertical on our ruler. So when I was bringing down these triangles, I used this 1/4 inch mark. There's a line here. I'm hoping that the camera is picking that up. It's hard because we get a little bit of a glare. There you go. There's the 1/4 inch. And that's what I was using to create my bottom line across the bottom here. I just went up that 1/4 inch so that way I could have the placement that I wanted right at the 0. So I lined up my square at the 2.5 inch on either side, and then I lined it up also with this 1/4 inch mark here, so you can see where my square is lining up inside. It's kind of hard. Actually, if I do this way, all right, so I'm going to cover that up, but so that way at least you can see how through the ruler I can see exactly where my bottom 5-inch square is. And then I have this 1/4 inch sitting above the square, and that's where I lined up my triangle coming down. In these in-between places, it gave me a good reference. You probably, since we're at 3/4 inch in between, I could have gone a little bit more. I can tell I am a little bit over more on one part than the other, but you know, I'm okay with that. It's, it's precise, but it's not overly precise, and I don't think to the naked eye you're really going to notice it all that much. So let's finish off this page, and I have pulled our Living My Best Life from our sticker pack along with 2 of our feathers, and you'll notice that one of our feathers is completely white. And this one has so much beautiful color on it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this one off. We're going to place this one down over here. It's going to come out from the right side of our Living Our Best Life. I kind of want it to be centered, going up the page a little bit. And this one, I have pulled out my pens that are my shimmer brush pens. I have the blue and the purple because these are the colors. We don't have a green one, so I pulled kind of what I thought would work with what is on this page. And I'm going to give it a little shake, and we are going to go ahead and color in our feather first, and then I'm going to pull it off the sticker sheet. Sometimes I do try to do myself some favors here, so that way I don't have to be too quick or too precise. I think I'm going to go from this angle here. So if you don't have the shimmer brush pens, because I checked, and unfortunately both the blue and the purple have sold out, I do have a video I will link with this one on where I've tried out every shimmer brush pen that Creative Memories has come out with this year, 2024, just in case you're watching on a replay. And you can see the differences. Oops, I went the wrong direction on that one, didn't I? You can kind of tell it in the brush strokes. I'll have to fix that in a minute. Here we go. I will show you another option of what you can do for this, but I like that I don't have to completely color in the lines. I'm going to blur this just a little bit coming down to give the colors just that alcohol ink effect a little bit coming down, and I'm going to put a little bit of purple up in the blue as well. I think I might add a little extra definition coming down this way as well, going through and up our feather. Actually, I probably should grab out my silver one. So this kind of, it gets a little bit darker towards the center, doesn't it, usually on feathers? And let me get my silver, because it looks like we do have a lighter vein coming through our feather here, and I went dark, but I'm going to go light instead. So here's silver. We do still have the silver and gold on my Creative Memories website. You can follow the link in the description box below this video. And there we go. We have one messy looking feather, but let me give it a second to dry here, and then we'll pull it off and put it on our page. Let me show you the close-up of this. All right. I feel like I did okay with that. I do like to play around with these things from time to time. So now my mess doesn't look quite so messy, does it? It looks like it actually was intentional. You can see where I did go off the sticker a bit, but I think it's going to look great on our page. I'm glad I added that little touch of silver because it does blend nicely with the other one. Let's bring this one out and up a little bit too here. It's maybe not quite all the way dry, mostly dry. I actually didn't get anything on my finger, so I'll take that as a win. And let me grab my foam squares for our saying that we're going to put on this page. This is kind of our title a little bit, but we have one for the other side of the page as well, and you will see that. I'm going to cut this. Grab my microchip scissors here. Great for cutting through foam squares, foam tape, anything that has sticky because they don't goop up. But they are currently sold out until December of 2024. You can go to the item on my website and request an email when they're back in stock, and home office will send you an email when they are back in stock. They are awesome scissors. Awesome scissors. They're basically my favorite scissor. Here we go. Hang on. I'm losing my backs of my foam squares. All right. So I cut that one in half and I placed them here at the edges of the banner so that way it's not going to be floppy at all on my page. It would help if I didn't put it on the page upside down probably as well. And we're just going to line up between the lines at 3/4 inch mark. Okay, there's my living my best life. And we are going to place our photos here. And it doesn't matter. You can put your photos so where it lines up exactly, kind of like they showed us in the sketch, but I probably will. I might do one that's a little more horizontal. I might do one that's a little more vertical. But if you're kind of within any part of the space here, you can see where it's going to fit just fine with a photo. Oops. This might not be my best example ever, but here you go. To give you an example of how it'll cover, it'll just cover parts of it. And then if you decide you do want to add an extra little mat, that can fit as well. They do show that in the sample here where their photos do have an extra layer of matting around it, but I don't think you really need it with this collection because of the blending of the alcohol inks. I don't honestly think it's going to make, I don't think it's going to be a problem if you just put your photo there. You can see you get the blue, you get the extra color here, you got the greens. So you can fit your photo and you can even go closer to the edge within, so you give yourself just a little bit of a 1/4 inch border around as well. Options, I always like to talk about the options with you all. So here is the left side of our page. It looks a little funny right now, but I think it's going to look really nice when the photos go onto it. And now I'm going to do the right side of the page as well. I'm going to leave out my brush pens because we have another feather here. This is our saying for the right side of my page. And let's get these 5-inch squares. Got myself distracted here a little bit looking at where I wanted things to go on my page, so forgive me here a moment. All right, there we go. So we have these 4 squares coming down here, and these are also the 5 by 5-inch squares. So I've got my mat lined up at that 12-inch mark. I'm going to go ahead and place my ruler in here as well. Let's see if I can get myself reasonably straight as well. And then we need that 3/4 of an inch mark again. So there's that there. Here's this here. So it's nice to know I'm going to get these reasonably lined up again. 3/4 coming in and down. And it always feels good to be able to use up some scraps on our page as well. I don't know about you, but I always like using up scraps on my pages and knowing that I am going to be using up more of a collection, which is something I do every National Scrapbook Day and every Croptoberfest with our project recipe kits. There's a lot of times there's extra scraps in there, and I always make sure to use the whole thing with my customers, showing them that they can be creative and use up an entire kit is nice because you get more value for your money as well. I tend to be frugal all the way in my color. Funny, I know I'm frugal. So, you know, we work with what we have, right? Okay, so what do we think about putting maybe the lights here, light over here, and then we have these blues here. I almost want to put the blues up here and then have this other one that has that little bit of blue and green down here. Okay, so at least now I have an idea of where I'm going to put my half squares. Let's get some repositionable tape going on these, and I'm going to be back with you all again shortly. This one takes a little bit. Again, I know I did my measurements. This one does look like it's a little bit high. I want to recheck that one because something does not look right there. Nope, I was off a little bit. It should be down about a quarter inch. Okay, good. I thought looking at that one, it did not look like it was lined up because with this one is down, this one's down. I figured I must have missed one of them. So it's easy enough. Just grab your multi-purpose tool and lift that up, remeasure, line your other one up. We'll get it done. It's paper crafting. There's always a way to fix it, which is one of the best things about paper crafting. Am I right? So you can always fix if you make a mistake. There we go. It's forgiving. I wish we were all forgiving. It's forgiving. There we go. Okay. So now we are back with our story of today. And this one has a few more greens in it, but we're still going to go with the blue and the purple on our white sticker here. Now, I did tell you I would show you another option. I don't know if you've seen our rainbow dot pens that comes in the roll, and you can see we have some great color choices. We have the purple, we have green, we have this blue in our dual tip pens that go nicely with this collection, and also the pink too as well. But we do also have a lighter purple and a, so it's a more, those are more of a pinky purple, and this is a lighter purple, and this one is a lighter green that you could use as well in our dot tip pens. So you do have options in our rainbow pens bundle. We also do have a few other both dual tip pens, and I'm not sure if we have any dot tip pens on the website currently. Occasionally they'll come out with a new color, and there is space to add a few more to your roll, or if you have favorites that you want to travel with. Of course, you always want a journal pen, so that one probably is going to be the middle, the black pen. I use that all the time on the virtual crop sketches when I live stream every month, but that's your other option. I think really with these white feather stickers, I mean, you could add them on just white, but you know, it's an opportunity here to do a little something different, to do a little something extra, and why not? We have the tools to do it, so let's make it happen here. Get our sticker colored in again. Go at an angle, because if you are going to have actual feathers, the feathers do come in from an angle, don't they? Traditionally. Color through the middle a little bit more here. Let me get my purple going. And so I'm just going to follow the same rough pattern I had on my other feather. Get this bottom taken care of, and then come on down with the purple again like we did with the blue. And I didn't even shake my pen again this time. It's just flowing beautifully to give me the colors coming through out of the brush part. I'm just going to go this way again and do a little bit through the center. Add a little bit up in here, because there is some blending of colors through our feathers. And so we'll go ahead and finish this off up here. We've got a couple of white spots. Bring a little bit of blue down into the bottom here as well. Just basically mix your colors as if you were doing the alcohol ink. That's one of those things that I actually took a class when we were in New Mexico, and we did an alcohol ink tile, and it was really kind of interesting seeing the different technique that they use with that. It was fun to learn. So it was really cool to see when the collection came out with the alcohol ink inspired papers. I was like, wow, I guess we were kind of trendy in New Mexico a little bit to do that. All right, this is going to be kind of centered. This is going to come in from here. This one's going to come in from the other side. Where's my ruler again here? Use it to help dry my, it dries really quickly for what you think you feel like you're adding a lot of color, but really you're just adding enough. So here is my finished feather again up close. I think it turned out really, really nicely again. We're going to pull it off of our sticker sheet. And again, you can see I did not color in the lines. I do have some blobs outside of the lines. And I don't mind if I have a couple of white spots around the edges as well, because this whole feather is outlined in white. So it works. Okay, there's that one. I did get a little bit from the bottom, so my bottom wasn't quite dry on that time, but it's okay. Let's get the foam squares out again. I'm going to cut another one with my microchip scissors so I can get the top of this banner so it doesn't sag on me at all. I'm just cutting diagonally through one of the smallest foam squares again on our foam square sheet. And those are going to go at the top here. Oops. While I'm doing this, y'all can let me know. Well, do you like the way I colored this in with the brush pens? Do you like how these layouts are coming together? I would like to continue my Sketch With Me series, but I am going to be doing some different things on my channel coming up. I feel like after doing that 101 sketch challenge, which I mean, we're still working in the book, so I still have more. I didn't quite get through all 101. We might see a few more on our Sketch With Me series through the end of the year, um, with whichever collections come out. But is there something else you would like to be seeing? I have some ideas, but I also like to know what you all would like to see as well. So here's the right side of our page. And again, you are going to, cut your photos as you normally would. We do have a new photo trimmer as well, which I haven't had a chance to feature, so that might be something. Who wants to see a photo trimmer segment coming up? Wouldn't that be fun? All right. There you go. There's both pages together. They actually line up reasonably well, all things considered. What do you think? What do you think of this page? I think this collection just worked out nicely to show off our sketch from page 75. And they did have a couple of stickers in the middle of theirs as well with the title. This page, it doesn't lend itself as well to journaling. If you want, because we do have the darker pages, you can get like a write-on sticker and put it at the top or at the bottom here, or even layered on the sides as well. Or cut part of one of your index sheets. I had one earlier to show the zero centering ruler. So take one of your, doesn't matter which collection it's from, but you have basically a free piece of white cardstock. Maybe cut out a 4x4 square and you can create a journal box out of one of these squares. Or if you have a smaller photo, you can do a part photo and part with the index sheet to do some journaling. So there you go. Let's make a card as well. I hope you all are ready for a really fun and beautiful card. I did kind of work from the sketch a little bit, was influenced by the sketch, but this one I kind of freestyled a little bit more. I had a scrap of the paper that has the purple, grid on it, basically. And I cut this at 5.5 by 4 inches. So our standard base for our cards is 5.5 by 4.25. Oops, I forgot I pulled out an extra sticker for our inside sentiment as well this time, because I just thought it worked really nicely. So our paper is 5.5 by 4 inches for the base of our card this time. And I was looking at it and I thought, I want to add a little bit something else. And so I will show you what I pulled out here. I just want to make sure my corners get anchored nicely using my repositionable tape here, just around the edges a little bit. And then I'll add some regular tape. Sorry, I didn't realize I was off camera there. I'll add some regular tape to the center of our regular tape runner here. My desk is a little bit full right now because I've got a lot going on with this card, like I said. Oops, this way. Coming in from the left side with my alcohol ink pattern, I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch at the top and the bottom, because remember I said 4.25 by 5.5 is what our card base is. And the piece I cut was 4 inches. So we have 1/4 of an inch. We're going to divide that in half at 1/8. All right, so one of the things I pulled out was my mirrored scallop chain border maker cartridge. You do need the border maker system to use the border maker cartridges. And my circle punch. since we used the square punch on our layout, I thought, you know what, it's a perfect opportunity for a circle. Our circles are 1 3/4 of an inch, and it just seemed to work. Like I said, freestyling a little bit. I kind of got just extra creative, I guess, with this one. Um, so when I went to cut our mirrored scallop chain to the 5.5 inches, I realized that, you know what, I want it to actually be symmetrical. If I cut it at 5.5, it would have been through one of our mirrored scallops. And I didn't want that. So I'm going to actually center this a little bit more on my card. And we will have just a tiny bit of white space on either side. And of course, you are still going to see maybe a little bit of the white space. But remember, some of our stickers have some white space around them, and it goes fine with this collection. So I had 4 of these little mirrored scallop chains that I went ahead and just cut apart. And that's what these are here. I'm going to flip these over. These are the 3 circles I punched from my scrap paper that I had left over from our layout, which was scrap from our virtual crop. And I thought, you know, these actually look kind of nice, just centered on our circle. So it brings in just a little extra element. Oops, I forgot I flipped that over already. Back over here. And this last one, using my repositionable tape, just putting these in the center of each of my circles. Yes, you can get out your 0 centering ruler. No, I am not going to do that this time, even though I did it on the layout. But our circles are going to go through the center of our card, and you can see how it's all starting to come together here a little bit. I'm going to flip these over, get my tape runner going on these. So the piece I punched, or the paper I punched for my mirrored scallop chain, was this one that had the green whoops on the back of it. It's not the one with the woven like our base. It's the one that kind of almost has that watercolor look to it. Not alcohol ink, but almost like a watercolor. This collection is really unique for sure. Beautiful. Beautifully unique. Okay, so this is going up at the top of our card. I do want to center it, so I need to bring it over just a little bit more. Here we go. So you can see I have just, maybe again about another 1/8 of an inch at each corner here, but it's okay. Seems to work. And now my circles, flip these over, add a little bit of tape runner in the middle. I'm going to just reinforce again a little bit the edges with the repositionable tape. Although we are going to add quite a few stickers actually to this card. Okay, gently. And these are going up and down. My little mirrored scallops are going the same direction as they are on the border. I feel like actually I want this darker part on the bottom. Let me do this. And I think we're going to want to put about 1/8 of an inch. Nope, I like that better at the top. Okay. So about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. And, whoops. Let's get this last one here, about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. And again, yes, you can. Actually, I probably do need to grab my ruler so I know I'm getting these straight. And I will use my horizontal grid lines to do that. Coming up here, I'm going to line it up at the bottom at about this, I don't know, it's 1/4 of an inch up from the center of this, and grab my multi-purpose tool. I feel like, because this one's lower than the others, oops, of course. There we go. Actually, do I want it up over? No, that actually looks like it's reasonably well centered up here. So about 1/8 of an inch from the edge, that I am going to eyeball. Bringing it right in line with my ruler. And this one up here as well. It wasn't really stuck down, but Sometimes you just need that little bit of extra help, and this is going to have about 1/8 of an inch between both of the other circles. Is it precisely 1/8 of an inch? No, I don't think so. But it's going to be close, and that's good enough for what we're doing here with the paper crafting. I don't think anybody's eye is going to look at it and say, oh, Catherine was off by, you know, not even, it'd be like a 16th or a 32nd of an inch at this point here. We're talking minuscule fractions. So we have those three going across here. And you can see it's starting to take shape. It's kind of an interesting card, but I found these little geodes, and we've got this Eurogem that I thought would look great here. And there's another little geode here because we're bringing back in some of the colors again. And this one's going to go just offset a bit here. And I actually don't think I'm going to pop it up. We're just going to go ahead and place this on the page. Right down here. And this one's going to go over here. So these have that circular shape. I kind of want the white bottom going towards the bottom a little bit more. This is going to actually go over our mirrored scallop a little bit down here. There we go. Kind of angling the arc in between the arc of the two above it. This one is kind of in between up here. I will hold it closer to the camera coming up. And then we also have all these colored gems in this sticker collection. And, you know, sometimes I struggle a little bit. Not only do I struggle sometimes with the bigger embellishments, I also struggle sometimes with these little stickers. And so I pulled out a light blue, a dark blue, and a green because these are the colors that are on this layout. We're going to put these kind of on this linear part of our mirrored scallop chain, the part that's rectangular, I guess, if you will. And then we also have a dark green that's also going to go up over here. Let's see. There we go. So we have dark green, light blue, and dark blue. And finally, we are also going to add a heart because I thought this just kind of rounded out what we're doing between these three little gems and these other two. But again, you can see we have white on white again. We were going to put our ridiculously amazing in the middle because see here, you're a gem and the ridiculously amazing. I just thought this would be a really cool card to give to a friend. You know, sometimes you have those friends that do something really special for you, and it's you say thank you, but you know, you can make a card, give your friend a card that says you're a gem, and then you can also say, no, you're actually ridiculously amazing. And that just lets somebody smile and know that they're appreciated. Okay, well, you know what? I pulled out my lifter stick and I didn't wind up using it. I thought I would need it for the mirrored scallop pieces, but if you have little pieces that you punch, and we have these lifter sticks on my website, the Creative Memories website, those are really handy. I can't believe I didn't use mine. And then the other thing, when I talked about in the layout about the Rainbow Dot Pens bundle, I also said we do have some other pens as well. And so I pulled out my orchid and my blue and my silver and my spring green. And we're going to color this with the dual tip pens this time, just to give you a different effect and show you all a different look that you can create using these other pens instead of the brush pens. So if you don't have the shimmer brush pens, this will give you another look and another option of what you can do. So I'm just going to go right around the outside. I'm using the wider end of my pen. If you really want to get extra detailed, you can use the fine end of it. I'm just going to kind of put some scribbles through with my darker purple here first, and then I am going to use the blue. Let's see. Okay, there's a picture on here that shows you which end is the wider end and which end is the thinner end. So that's what I'm going to do is kind of go around with the blue here. And then I'll maybe just do that. Let's see here. And then I'll bring in my green as well. Maybe from up over here. And kind of this whole collection is all about the color blending. So you kind of want to just work with what you think looks right. I don't know about the green, kind of looking brown in places, but let's add a little silver and then we'll see if we need to go back over with some of our blue or purple again. So this is the metallic silver coming through here. And I just wanted to go around in blue, and I liked having the idea of the purple with it. Kind of going blue, but I may need to go back over it with the purple instead, maybe with the fine end a little bit more. Yeah, I'm not sure. It does actually look like it's kind of alcohol inky. A little bit of silver through the whole thing, maybe. There we go. That looks interesting. I kind of like that. But I want a little bit more purple to anchor it over here as well. And you have still some of the highlights in here. It's just not coming out. And so we'll just run a little bit extra through. And I'm just going lightly with my pens. I'm layering it over. Let me hold this up. Ooh, this one almost looks as wet as when I had the other pens, but there you go. That is what I've done just with the pens on this heart sticker. And the heart sticker has 2 layers to it, so you want to be careful when you pull it off. If you want to keep your heart together, be extra careful like I am, because I am going to keep mine together. Or if you want to pull yours apart, you can see the seam when you go to do it. But you can see I definitely, again, did not color in the lines at all. I just went over and did what I thought looked good. And there we go. Oops, let me see if I can actually place this down where I want to place it. Multi-purpose tool can help with that. Scooch you over just a little bit more. And up and over, because it's still wet. I don't want to touch it on the top too much. I'll just push down, and then when it dries, I will get it. You can see I even got a little bit of ink on the tip of my multi-purpose tool here. I'll just rub it with my thumb, because I will be washing my hands soon, I'm sure. All right. There is our card. What do you all think? Like I said, it's a little bit more, and I did freestyle it a little bit more, but I think it's kind of stunning. I think, wouldn't that bring a smile to your friend's face? It's bringing a smile to my face. So I hope you all enjoyed this edition of Sketch with Me, showing off our Full of Wonder collection. Until next time.